Hey guys, welcome back to Clueless Gamers. I am Pete, and today I'll be reviewing Supergirl Season 2, Episode 14, Homecoming. So don't freak out if you're listening to this and going, oh my god, where's the reactions? Is Pete stopped reactions? No, I have not stopped reactions. I don't know if you could still tell, but I'm getting over a pretty bad cold. I was pretty busy this week, caught up with work and school, and I'm still super busy. And I figured in the immense amount of backlogs of reactions that I have, and since you guys are waiting for them, I'm trying to catch up as best as I can. I figure you'd rather see newer stuff as reactions or maybe more important episodes, as a lot of these seasons are reaching their kind of endpoint. Legends is right near the end, so I figured in an effort to catch up with that, I'm going to be reviewing a few episodes, but yes, reactions will be back. I will be reacting to the Flash Supergirl crossover that is coming up, so don't worry. So this Supergirl episode, with that stuff out of the way, one word I would say is sad. It's filled with a lot of sadness in this episode here. It's definitely, I think, a good episode. There's some weird things where I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense, but definitely intriguing stuff setting up for the rest of the season, and a lot of heartbreak. So my four main points of the episode are Jeremiah returns, which was the huge moment in the episode, the Danvers family, Cara and MonEl, and then what is Cadmus up to, because what the hell was going on there at the end of the episode. So starting with the first main point, looking at Jeremiah returning. So Jeremiah, of course, returns in this episode. We see him. We're happy to see him at first. It is weird, right off the bat, and maybe this is just me, but I assume it's other people when I watch their reactions and reviews. It's weird that Cadmus has gone dark since Lillian Luthor and the whole thing that went down and Metallo exploded a couple episodes ago, right? That makes sense. But why would you think, if they've been able 14, 15 years to keep Jeremiah off the radar, it's been discreet, the DEO hasn't been able to find him, Supergirl, Superman, nobody's been able to find him, right? You know, that Cadmus has done a pretty good job hiding him, and then all of a sudden they bring him out, and like, you know, a little bit of bait there, a little bit too easy, just shooting regular bullets and not even kryptonite bullets at Supergirl when her and John go to rescue him. It seemed too easy. There was something more to the story, whether it was Jeremiah was being forced back there, maybe, you know, they were risking the lives of his daughters, which could still be the case. Maybe he really is a changed man. Maybe he's brainwashed. Clearly, at least to me, and probably to many of you, there was something going on right from the top of the episode. But before all that stuff happens, it was very sweet moments. You know, they capture him. They say his hand is messed up and everything. You know, like they take him back after he was captured. Cara brings him back. And that moment where Alex, you know, goes, oh, you know, they told me that you were alive, but I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And she hugs him. And then she grabs Cara and they have kind of this family moment. Really, really sweet. It was actually one of my favorite moments this season. And too bad it goes to shit later in the episode. But for that moment, it was really great. It was Alex finally seeing her father again after so long, because obviously Cara and MonEl saw him like, oh god, 8, 9 episodes now. I think it was episode 7 or so before the mid-season finale. So it's been a few months for us, but this is Alex. It's not like Cara doesn't have, and we'll get more into the second main point, it's not like Cara doesn't have a connection to him, because of course she does, but this is Alex's literal biological father, and that moment of just her running to him and even hurting him a little bit because he was all effed up and everything, which I do believe he was effed up. At least he sold it well. That was a really beautiful moment there. You know, just him seeing everyone again, even seeing Lynn and MonEl, but especially those moments of seeing John again and seeing Eliza, which was, you know, some really, really great moments. Obviously taking out the context of what later happens and with Jeremiah and, you know, what he does. Those were some very poignant moments in the episode. The whole family situation that they had, you know, eating around the dinner table and Alex introducing it. I like how Alex just straight up introduced Maggie right to Jeremiah. This is my girlfriend, while a lot has changed, but that was really great. And I actually like when he said that, you know, no man was good enough for her. So, you know, it was it's good that it would be someone like you. Meaning, you know, obviously she's a woman in that case, but that Maggie is that perfect person for her. And I like how Maggie has that kind of confidence, that little bit of cockiness to her, even in a joking manner, where she goes, yeah, she does have the best. So those were great moments there, that whole family scenario, everything. And it was nice to see Jeremiah back. However, especially, I think if you weren't tipped off earlier in the episode of how they caught him and everything else, you definitely had to be tipped off with the whole hand thing, right? That was weird. The last time I've seen kind of a maneuver, I guess, brought out in one of these superhero shows was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last season, when Coulson, I don't know if you remember the episode or you even watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but when Coulson did kind of a fake thing where he faked an injury so, he can get something go his way. It kind of seemed the same way where he was trying to hide something or try to gain sympathy. There was something odd about that situation. My last point of Jeremiah returning before we get more into him and the Danvers family main point is the whole thing with like his hand, right? So Alex says, your hand's extensively damaged and blah, 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 blah. I get that whole part, right? But you're the DEO. You don't like look him over and be like, oh fuck, Dad, you're half Terminator and you have a fucking cybernetic arm. Like, I don't know, maybe someone should have, even ran him through a metal detector and figured that. Like, I kept going back and it seems like his hand's a little bit exposed, but I don't think it is, because they definitely would have commented on it. And John in the episode later is surprised and he says, oh, I'm surprised, that you got knocked out and blah, blah, blah. Jeremiah is cybernetically enhanced. So they had no idea. So I don't understand how you don't run a test on him, even in the sense that you didn't think he was hiding anything, but like, oh, Dad, your hand is clearly fucked up. How did you know it was fucked up if you didn't do any tests on him? Was there a way to conceal the metal underneath, in the same way that John wasn't able to read his mind at some point? Obviously, Cadmus has had to alter him into something. So there's a lot of questions there, and that was a little weird moment for me in the episode where I was like, that doesn't make any sense. How did they not know about that? But overall, it was very cool to see him even later in the episode what happens. Second main point of the episode, and further talking about Jeremiah, is the Danvers family. So I understand, as I touched on, Alex having a connection, a deep connection, right? It's always this thing where mothers are usually more connected with their sons and daughters with fathers. That's just kind of how it works, I guess, even sometimes for aliens. And in this case, Cara being, for at least the first 13, 14 years of her life, she was an only child. And having this close connection with her father, she probably, and they've been said before, I can't think of a specific thing, but she definitely had some battles with her mother, growing up, and you saw that she later became a party girl and all these different things. It was always her father was there, and I really think that was a bad moment for her, even though Cara was there at the time, that she lost her father, everything that was going on with Cara, what she was, and that caused Alex to spin out of control. Now, with her life so much in order in kind of ways, her for the first time kind of living or accepting herself, or even realizing that she should accept herself with the whole Maggie thing going on. Now, Jeremiah comes back into her life, and you have people like MonEl in this episode, which I actually sided with him. And we'll get more to him later, but in the terms of this, I sided with him that they should be cautious. They should question things. I think in the hallway, before, Jeremiah said anything to him, I think he had a great point where he was like, you're a scientist, you should question everything. And then obviously Jeremiah turning right around, and I thought that maybe they were hiding something, or they both said something to each other when Cara was maybe knocked out or something at Cadmus. I thought there was something I was missing. But it turns out that obviously Jeremiah with Cadmus knows a lot about MonEl. Who he actually is he the Prince of Daxam? Is that what he was hiding? Clearly there's something bad in his past of why he isn't told Cara, why Jeremiah kind of just threatened him, why these aliens who we haven't seen in a few episodes are hunting him. What is going on there? Clearly there's a problem. Obviously that's going to come to a head at some point. But MonEl was the voice of reason in this episode, and I actually sided with him. But I understood as well that Alex was so hesitant, was so against and pushed back that there's no way, that can't be my dad. I thought it was a super powerful moment when Cara was starting to come on board, because she was, at first she was of course hesitant, and everything that's been going on with MonEl, and he's kind of been disrespectful, even though, they just had sex, but we'll get to that. But I understand where Alex was coming from, and that was a very powerful moment where she said to Win and MonEl that you two are unbelievable, but then, she turns around to Cara and you just, she can't believe it. Like, you're just, I forget the exact line she said, but like, it was like, she couldn't believe that you're supposed to be the daughter, my sister, and that you're not going to believe him too, and that really fucked her up. And, we never see Cara and Alex ever really fight, ever. And for them, and they're so in tune with each other, and for them to actually have a moment like that, it reminded me of last season when Alex killed Astra, and, admitting that to her and everything else, and, Cara forgave her. I couldn't look negatively at Alex and say, wow, you're being a bitch, because I get both sides of it. And I didn't agree with her in the one way with Alex, that when she said, oh, you're being like MonEl, you don't have to take every stance of his, that was kind of a dig that I don't think she kind of meant. I think she was trying to make sure her sister was standing up for herself, but I also think it was a dig at her in a way that was kind of a little bit out of bounds, because Cara's been fighting MonEl so much of, you don't hear me, you don't understand me, you're never listening to me. So then to say that, I think was kind of fucked up, when clearly, Cara is the one that's trying to fix MonEl in certain ways. She's certainly not following him. And, throughout the episode, the whole, like I said, family dinner was amazing. I think that conversation that Jeremiah had, he's looking out at the, at MonEl and Alex and Cara and Maggie, and, his two girls in a relationship, and everyone's happy, and him talking to Eliza and saying that, he wanted to, move things forward, and this is what he's thought about for 14, 15 years or so. And I think Eliza actually came around really well, saying that, hey, I don't know you anymore, and I think we have to work at this. And I thought that was a totally fair point. He said, hey, let's just start with dinner, and then of course it went off the rails later on. But even before that, the whole build up to it, even when you knew something was off, I was hoping it wasn't as off as it ended up turning out being. But those moments were well acted, well done. No, I don't think the woman that plays Eliza is the greatest actress in the world, but she's still pretty good. And I think for me, obviously, Kyler Lee takes the cake in that throughout the episode, but that moment that she had there in the woods when she has the gun up to Jeremiah and she thinks about shooting him, but she can't. He says that he's doing it for her. Clearly, there's something more to the story, as he said to Win and John in the DEO. So there is something more. Is killing all the aliens, but he's sparing Cara and Alex. Like, what is the motivation? What is going on there? And that moment there in the woods, the tears in her eyes, and what she was feeling was so painful for me to watch. I hate watching people cry, especially just for some reason I hate watching Kyler Lee. I hate watching Alex Danvers cry. I guess because she's normally just so strong that, like, even in a lot of ways more emotionally strong than Cara, that was hard to watch. And seeing her all fucked up at the end of the episode and drinking, which she's drinking a lot more lately these days with everything going on, and Maggie comforting her, that was a very beautiful moment. And even I thought the best moment of the episode for MonEl was him saying, hey, what do you need? Taking the advice he did from earlier, from Win earlier in the episode, and saying, what do you need? Kissing, Cara's forehead and saying, basically, I'm here for you. I'm here when you wake up. I got your back. And that he's learning more to be a partner. So those moments for the Danvers family, for Jeremiah returning, great stuff. Him turning, obviously, in the end with the cybernetic arm, them doing what they did, which I'll get more to. Heartbreaking, very, 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 very well acted, well written, and I look forward more to, I guess, this conflict, kind of this, I don't know if I would necessarily question of morality, but I guess you could look at it that, because how can Alex shoot a man where she might have to shoot Jeremiah at some point, maybe to save Cara or something else? Those lines are going to become blurred. I think that's very intriguing going forward. Third main point of the episode for me is Cara and MonEl. So I'm not going to spend too much time in this. It's basically the same stuff over and over. I don't agree with... And I'm not going to say I don't agree with them being together. You guys, if you listen to the channel, you know my thoughts. I'm totally open to growing on it. However, them having sex, like, boom, that night, and then, the next day that obviously Cara left and was doing a million other things because she's Supergirl and MonEl does nothing. It was a case where it's like, man, that was... Cara, I thought you were about, not taking this whole thing quick and how everything fucked up last time with Jimmy and blah, 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 blah. and then to just jump literally into the sack with MonEl, I thought was kind of a wrong move. That was weird kind of writing for me. And I would even have said that if it was really anyone. But I think it's more in the case that they've had so much conflict, the two of them, in Cara and MonEl, that felt weird. I guess it could be out of passion and stuff like that. I get that. But then they had so much pushback and so much fighting once again in this episode that it's like, it's weird that Cara would sleep with him that quickly, because I don't think she even ever slept with Jimmy. Like, had she ever slept with anyone before that point? What I assume so, because there's no way that they wouldn't have made a point that was Cara's first time, if, you know, it wasn't said or something. So at some point that had to happen. But there were some interesting moments in the episode in just general of Cara's backstory, very briefly, of her saying it's nice to kiss MonEl, you know, and to kiss someone that she doesn't have to worry about or doesn't break the nose of the guy, and she's done that like 4 other times. So it just speaks more to how careful she has to be, because how powerful she is and how hard that is for people like her or Clark to deal with. So I thought those were interesting things. I didn't like them fighting throughout the episode. I understand the conflict of where I totally sided with MonEl in the sense of they should question Jeremiah. It was also a case where he wasn't listening to Cara again. You know, he wasn't listening to her again, where, you know, he spoils. I laughed out loud because it was very funny, but spoils the relationship 10 seconds into walking in the DEO after she just told him not to say anything, and all the things that come with that. And he's never listening, and I'm hoping that after she just went through such a traumatic experience, you know, with Jeremiah turning on them after she just got them back and blah, 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 I'm hoping that he's there for her more. And again, you know, the conversation he had with Wynn in the bar of like, oh, what am I there supposed to be there? I like when Wynn was saying, hey, she doesn't need you to show her off or be her protector. She's Supergirl. She's badass on her own. I thought that was really well that they said that. But it's more that, MonEl, you have to realize that you're a partner, you're a support system. Doesn't mean you can't live your own life or be a man or anything else. It's that you're supposed to be there for her and listen to her, and vice versa when she needs it. And that was a moment. And I hope going forward that they'll be, I always imagine that there's going to be conflict in their relationship, but I hope it's more a little bit of fun, push and pull, kind of sarcastic to each other more than outright fighting. Because right now, the relationship from the beginning, since they've met each other, has kind of been unhealthy. And especially that they're in a legit relationship now, fighting all the time, not really a good recipe for relationship success. So I would like to see things change there going forward. I'm open to it. I think that last scene of the episode where, you know, she said, you know, we get up, and, you know, he said, yeah, we do. Like, having her back, you know, being there, trusting her, all those moments are good. Even the jokes, you know, MonEl's a really good character, and I want to like him. I don't want to hate him just because he's in a relationship with Cara now. As long as it's not a detriment to her or him, and that he's not constantly nagging at her and talking down to her, I'm completely fine with that. If it doesn't, you know, they end up just being an equal partnership. So we'll see more of that going forward. And I thought another funny moment they had was after he blows the whole relationship, and like he's like, oh, I should go warm up, right? Because sparring's gonna be rough, because she was gonna beat the shit out of him after that. So I thought that was funny. And then the fourth main point of the episode for me is it's more speculation. There's not a lot to talk about, but it's what is Cadmus up to, right? So let me know what you think down below. What was that at the end of the episode? Again, why is Jeremiah doing this? Clearly, like you said, it's not the whole story. There's something to it. Is it for his daughters? I imagine it is, and for his family and things like that. But did he lose the arm and the whole cybernetic things by choice? Did he lose that when he was stabbed? And I don't remember him falling off the cliff. I remember Cyborg Superman falling off the cliff. So I wonder how that works there. And then what was that thing at the end? Was that a ship? Was that Fort Roz? Was that some kind of weapon? Like, what was that? What is going on there? And now, obviously, the whole thing that he broke into there for was the Alien Registration Act. Now they have all the aliens. They can hunt them down. They can maybe create a bomb, you know, that only attacks them, kind of like X-Men, something like there. So who knows what the hell's going to happen? Was that whole fission bomb, nuclear fission bomb or whatever, was that actually real? Was that just a kind of diversion that what do you call it, you know, that Jeremiah made up the entire time? Because MonEl did question that can you really make a bomb from your extracted heat vision? It seemed like they were just doing that to drain your power so they can get your blood, and then they use that blood to get into the Fortress of Solitude to, unleash. I forget what the project was called, but it was the first time that they tried to kill everyone in National City, all the aliens at least. So that seems like the bomb wasn't really real, and it was a diversion, and that was another hint to clearly there's something going on here. I like that MonEl is questioning this kind of stuff, and I know you could say that, oh, that could have been anyone if the writers gave that person those lines. Yeah, completely true, but I think MonEl being the one that's furthest detached from the Jeremiah situation, from, because obviously Alex, Cara, even Wynn, John, very connected, so it had to be someone like him that was going to question it. So I want to see what's happening with Cadmus and the whole Jeremiah story going forward, because I think that's fairly interesting. And then, other little main points in the episode, I didn't like that Alex and Cara didn't have a moment where Alex apologized to her, or kind of vice versa, for kind of saying, like, you're not a real part of this family. That was kind of a low blow, and act like it. And I understand she was mad at the time, but I kind of wanted a little bit of reconciliation there. So maybe we'll bypass that. Maybe we'll get to that in the next episode. I don't know, but I would like to see that, because I always love moments between them. Episode, again, well acted. Those moments were great. Love what they did. The little Win stuff with kind of his relationship going on is fairly interesting, and MonEl basically getting advice from that and stuff, and it's nice that Wynn is getting a little bit of a story, a little bit of love, moving on from Cara outside of the entire regular main A storyline of him just in the DEO. So that stuff is nice there, and I want to see more of that stuff going forward and seeing what happened. And we also had a Maxwell Lord Little shout out in this episode. I think his name was on some kind of sign right there, right before they save Jeremiah. So I have no idea if him or Lucy is ever going to return to the show now that it moved to Vancouver, but we'll have to see going forward. So overall, guys, that's kind of my thoughts here on Supergirl Season 2, Episode 14, Homecoming. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? You have any problems with this episode? What kind of like the weird, how did they not know he had a cybernetic arm? Was it too cliche for you? That, Jeremiah ended up being bad working for Cadmus. Did you see that coming? Were you totally surprised? What do you think is up to? Is it for his family? Is it personal? Is he brainwashed? What is Cadmus doing? Is that Fort Roz? Is it a weapon? Is it a ship? There's a lot of questions this episode. What do you think of that? Before everything went to shit, what do you think of Jeremiah returning? Is there a path to redemption for him? I think personally he's going to redeem himself and die. What do you think of the whole Danvers family dynamic? Cara MonEl stuff? And even John and Eliza seeing Jeremiah and all that stuff, and how do you think everyone's going to pick up the pieces? And do you think that Cara and Alex are going to come to kind of some kind of reconciliation, or are we just going to kind of assume that was off screen and skip that? Let me know all your thoughts, the Maggie Alex stuff, the Cara's stuff, of how she was crying and Alex was crying, how they were both torn up, and the relationship support in this episode, and kind of any other thoughts, predictions, theories you have in the episodes coming forward. Let me know them, and on this episode, let me know them down below. As always, though, no spoilers. Like the video, subscribe channel, share with your friends if you'd be so kind, and until next week, is Supergirl, guys. Thanks for watching.